Hello, I would like to present to you our magazine, Managing Organizations. This issue is about how to be a good leader. Contributions to this issue was made by Bryce House, Danielle Garcia, and myself, Janet Thomas. We believe that communication is essential to being a good leader in public organizations. We believe good communication is important to helping facilitate problem solving, improve organizations, and establish connection. To get us started, I would like to talk about the beach ball method, a concept that was introduced in a book called Fierce Conversations. The beach ball method is a concept that a team can be represented as a beach ball, and everyone is a stripe on that beach ball. The stripe is looking at their work from their perspective. The beach ball is a way to facilitate good communication and problem solving with the team. Following this step-by-step process, a leader can present an issue, allow space for others to contribute to problem solving in a way that's collaborative, and give space for others to share back and propose a solution. Next, I would like to talk to you about being a catalyst and the tools they use. This was discussed in a book called The Starfish and the Spider: The Unstoppable Power of Leaderless Organizations. According to the authors, a catalyst is a person who initiates a circle, then fades away into the background. They don't have to exercise control over their team, and they allow their team to self-manage and drive the work. Here you will see differing tools catalysts use, and some of the tools involve good communication. An example would be loose connections. Loose connections means understanding that you don't have to have a deep relationship with everyone, but it is important to have some type of connection that allows for building relationships and getting work done. Another tool used by Catalyst is tolerance for ambiguity. A Catalyst will be able to say, I don't know, and does not feel the need to have an answer for everything. This allows for creativity and innovation to spark amongst the team. These are a few tools that foster good communication and can make someone a good leader. I would like to pass it off to Bryce House.
An important aspect of improving communication in the workplace that managers can utilize is encouraging staff to ask more questions. Questions can be a powerful communication tool to help managers improve their organization. They can add value to the workplace in three primary ways. The first is by exposing blind spots. When people in the organization feel more comfortable admitting they don't understand something about a topic, and they ask discerning questions to find that understanding, oftentimes this can unearth things that were previously overlooked by management. This also can alleviate the issue of staff lacking the understanding or information they need because they were too afraid to expose any confusion by asking questions. Instead, when staff are asking questions to clarify any misunderstandings, the team can now be more confident that everyone is on the same page. The second way is by creating a growth-oriented culture. When staff feel more comfortable asking questions, a culture forms of humility and being willing to admit when you don't have the answer, which encourages problem identification and resolution. This sends the message to staff to not settle for an issue as it is and to look at the problem from different angles to see if there is a better solution. In turn, this breeds more innovation within the workplace. The third way is by distributing a sense of ownership over results. As Hal Gregerson said in Questions Are the Answers, the winner will be the one who gets to pose the questions. Traditionally, questions have been used to establish power within the workplace. Those who ask them often are in the driver's seat and making demands of those being asked. However, when this model gets flipped and everybody is encouraged to ask questions, this distributes power in the workplace, which in turn makes everyone feel like they have more ownership and influence over what happens in the organization. A key way managers can facilitate people asking more questions is by following these 3 steps. First, evaluate the existing culture within and around the organization around asking questions. Second, create space for people to ask questions. This can happen by clearing out a time and place for your team or a small group to gather with the explicit intent of asking questions about a specific topic. Lastly, invite this team to engage in a question blast where they generate 20 or so questions that they have about the topic. Afterwards, the team should unpack and pick out key themes from the questions that were asked. Okay, now I'm going to hand it off to Daniel.
Looking at communication through an Indigenous lens provides an important vantage point from which leaders can grow and develop. The tools we present here come from the many writers that contributed to the book Living Indigenous Leadership, Native Narratives on Building Strong Communities. And as the quote below shows, this process can be intensely personal, intimately tied to one's identity, and rooted in community. Aspects of communication include a sense of place. This is important to connect us back to where we came from, where we are, and where we are going. This is increasingly important to connect us back to each other as we work increasingly individual lives through remote work, Zoom meetings, and telework. These connections are important, and it is important to share our stories with each other. Seventh generation thinking similarly can ground a person in time, when they're living, who came before them, and who will come after them. A common theme in the book was walking between worlds, or dual discourse. This can both be a burden to have to code switch, but also a benefit of knowing how to communicate in two worlds at once. Intergenerational transmission is not only a chance for storytelling, but also an opportunity to impart wisdom between generations. In the book, the contributor Evelyn Steinhauer writes that, quote, "Our children will inherit the future we teach." Because of this, we should be mindful of what we are teaching them and what we are not. Some examples of effective communicators include people like Cesar Chavez, the labor leader who became a fixture in his community, not because he was the most highly credentialed, but because he could effectively deliver a message and bring people together. The International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers emphasizes not only elevating one's consciousness, but also putting this knowledge into action. This commitment to social justice should inspire not only future generations, but illustrate a path for how wisdom can be shared. Ernie Collison, also known as Scalay, said that a good leader knows how to work both up front and behind the scenes. He did this not only as an administrator for the Council of the Haida Nation, but also through informal actions like making blankets for friends, singing, painting, carving, and drawing. These things not only gave him valuable knowledge about his culture and traditions, but also tangible benefits, like when singing taught him how to evoke emotions and how to do the same thing when communicating a message. Some symbols of communication include singing, where you can tell the stories of those who have come before you, or evoke emotions in people. Hands can show years of hard work, or signify that you have knowledge of an intricate process. Dancing is an important form of communication that includes cultural transmission, showing the next generation how a dance is performed. And an important message comes from dancing that was shared in the book, where you never step back when dancing. You always step forward. And we can bring this same resiliency to life. Even when something does happen to us, we should always move forward. And the arts can communicate both how to make something, but also communicate things about your culture and things about where you came from. I'll end with this quote that summarizes why communication is the key skill for leaders. Our world has rapidly changed, both in the past century, the past 10 years, and even just post-pandemic. We need effective communication now more than ever, and we must change how we do so because we clearly aren't hearing each other. We hope that these tools will provide leaders with more skills for that communication and hope to keep the conversation going. Thank you for listening to our presentation.